I'm Dawn Reese, Hollywood Connections, 106.1 FM, and 4 other stations right here. We're taking a chill time on our sailboat, but I want to introduce to you somebody that I met when I was 19 years old, way back in the days. It made a big influence on my life and my career because he was an actor as well as still is. And let me introduce Donny Most. How are you today?
I'm great, Don. Nice to be here with you on your sailboat. It's a great place to hang out.
It is. We wanted to take you out the other day, but you know the waves were a little rough. And we said if you're watching out from the hotel, you could see the waves.
Yeah, it was windy, crazy windy, like 30. From where
we'll pick up.
We?
Anyways, I'm sitting here with Donny Most, and we met, gosh, when I was 19 years old, back in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Brewers when he was on the tour for Happy Days baseball. Remember that?
Oh, I do indeed. I remember that game at the county stadium, and since our show was supposed to take place in Milwaukee, we had a huge. I think we had 40,000 people that came out for our game, which was prior to the Brewers game. But incredible turnout and a lot of fun. That game, I remember it well.
Well, you know, Henry Winkler actually took me out in the field, gave me a big hug and kiss, and I had a blind date that night, Donnie. And I remember the blind date was, I always forget it because Henry just gave her a hug. But the best part was my uncle was the sheriff. He has now passed away. He brought me downstairs with everybody and said, listen, the Happy Days crew's here. I want you to meet them. And that's where I met you down there. And I was like, this is a cool career. I want to be an actress. And that's where it really came when I first met all of you down there. But in the meantime, I want to talk about your music because I've been playing your music on 106.1 FM and 4 other stations, swing band music. Where can they buy your music? Let's just start out with that first.
Yeah, it's sort of the jazz standards, you know, with a real swing bent to it. It's called D Most, mostly swinging. You can get it on Amazon or download it on iTunes. Those would be the main places. And it just got released a few weeks ago, and I'm really excited and proud of it. It's a big band swing, and I always love that kind of music, and with the great songs that Sinatra did and Bobby Darin, who was one of my favorites, and all those great, wonderful songs from the Great American Songbook.
Well, you know I had a couple connections myself, and Rudy I'm still working on because he wants to talk to you as well.
Oh, yeah. I have to talk to you about that, follow up on that.
He's a major promoter in the area, thanks to Yvonne, my co-host, and also Creed Warner. How did it go with Creed?
Creed's a great guy. I really want to thank you for introducing me to him. We've been having multiple discussions, conversations, and we met when I was down here. We met for the first time. I really like him. Great guy, and I've heard some of the stuff he's been producing. Sounded great, and so we're in discussions about working together in various capacities. We're sort of ironing it out now.
Awesome. That's Glory Sound Studios. Creed Warner, we love you so much. Thank you so much for taking your time to do this. Also, too, a lot of people want to know, did you have an acting coach when you were younger? These are questions that came in. And who did you train with?
Yeah, well, I started when I was 13. I started going to a school in Manhattan. I lived in Brooklyn, and it was for acting, singing, and they made me take tap dancing, which was kind of fun. It was not what I was looking to do. But then after a period of time, I got picked to be in a nightclub review, and I was singing up in the Catskill Mountains when I was very young, 15, up in all those hotels. But then after that summer, I decided to go in a more serious acting class. And it was run by a woman named Eleanor Rabb, and it was a workshop, about eight teenagers, and we worked on all these scenes, great scenes from Broadway type, from plays, all different styles, and it was great training to comedy, drama, different kind of styles of theater, and that was my first real coach, I would say. But then when I went out to LA, I continued. Even when I was in Happy Days, I was working with a teacher named Alan Miller, who was from the Actors Studio, and so he taught that method, which was method acting and Stanislavski method and all that. So those were the two primary teachers that I had.
Wow. You know, a lot of people want to know, because I talk to so many people I know that are still in the business, and you are as well, and they want to know, are you still training now? I know you're working on your music, and where to buy that music?
I'm sorry, where to buy that? Amazon, D Most, mostly swinging, or iTunes. Yeah. I mean, I'm not training with anyone now. I haven't. It's been quite a while since I went to several other classes after Alan Miller, but now for me it's all about doing it and stretching myself.
Well, you know, as I also saw that you're a director too, and you've been directing some things that you have on your list as well. Is that something that's going to be coming out soon, or is that something that you're working on?
I've directed 3 independent films. The first one was called The Last Best Sunday, which I made back in 1999, a drama. Two young male, female high school actors playing the lead characters. And then I did a comedy drama in 2007 called Moolah, which was a great experience for me. And then I did a family film called Harley's Hill, a girl and a horse kind of script. I have several projects that I'm trying to get going now that I'm very excited, great film projects that I want to direct, and or maybe 1 or 2 of them maybe I would produce if another director made more sense. But I definitely want to do more directing, and so we're looking to find the right company to partner with, to do it with, or to find private equity, some funding for it. That's how I did the first 2 films I did by finding the money. Right. The third one was with a company. So we're trying to find the best partner.
So if somebody is interested, just go to your website and email your production company, and they can donate or help out, because I know a lot of you have some extra money and tax money that you want to do extra things with. This is a project that you want to invest in.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited. I've been developing several scripts, and 2 of them are finished. One is in the development stage, but I really have a lot of good feelings about them.
Very cool. Well, another question that I do have is, how do you like Clearwater Beach, Florida? Because I see your Clearwater Beach jacket.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm dressed for the occasion. It's a little cool and windy right now.
It is.
I really enjoy it here. It's great. I mean, I wish the first few days my wife and I were here, the weather was great. It was about 80 degrees. We were lying out on the beach and at the pool, really enjoying it. And we walked around, and it's a lovely town, and I'd like to spend more time. And hopefully next time with the warmer weather continuing. Right now it's a little bit of a bummer that I'm not going to be able to go. I wanted to go, do some water sports and all that, but I'm a little afraid to do that right now.
I know there's some great jet ski places over here, friends of ours as well that we know. And, any other last words of any actors out there? There's a lot that are on my show. We help also, I have famous faces, Paul Levine, SEG Agency. He wants you in his agency as well. So there's more to talk about.
Oh, okay. Advice, people ask me that, and the one thing I usually say, because it's a very difficult business, it's sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. It's not always rational or fair, and sometimes can be very cruel, because it's just the nature of it. I guess the amount of competition, the amount of maybe there's politics or whatever it is. I usually say to people, I would only pursue it if it's something that you have such a passion for, and that there's nothing else that you want to do, and this is it. And okay, then go for it. Otherwise, if you don't have that feeling that there's nothing else I want to do, and I just have to, if you don't have that, I would say don't even bother, because it's just too difficult but like I said, cruel sometimes.
When I interviewed Joe Jackson, Michael's father, back in LA, and he said, get out there, be known, and strike. And that's a really important part, because people don't realize, it's not drive through McDonald's, order famous, and voila. That's what people think. And they don't know the hard road that you have to go through, especially when you first got your first agent. How was that feeling? And do you remember your first agent?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, was pursuing it since I was about 13. And then when I was about 16 is when I got a woman who became my manager, and then in New York, and then that was exciting that she wanted, and that was through the acting school that I was in. She was referred to me by the teacher, and then she started introducing me to agents. And back then in New York, and I think to some degree maybe now, you could freelance and work with different agents. But meeting those agents, and when that first agent decided to send me out on that first audition, that was an exciting feeling, And then it was the first one. It was a big commercial, a national commercial, and it was my very first audition, and I came this close to getting it, and I was like going, oh my God! But I it was down to me and one other guy. I didn't get it, and then I went like, I don't know how many more auditions with nothing happening, and I was going, dang, I almost had that first one, but then finally it started clicking, but it took a while, and I was driving in first I started doing it while I was in high school. So I was taking the subway from Brooklyn in to Manhattan for all those auditions. But then I was going to college at Lehigh University in Pennsylvania, and wouldn't allow cars in our freshman year. So I would get a call. I would have to walk a mile to the bus station, get on a bus. It was 2 hours and 45 minutes to Manhattan, then get on the subway, go to the audition, which would take 5-10 minutes, and then you go back. And I was doing this a lot. I mean, it's crazy, but that's the kind of determination, you have to have, and perseverance. So I was doing that a lot. And, then maybe you'd get one, but there were a lot you didn't. So,
that's cool. And I also heard, because Creed Warner was telling me that you ended up going when you had the part for Happy Days. They actually wrote you into that because you went for the main character.
I was actually auditioning for Potsy.
Right.
Yeah, and then when they called my agent and said, well, we cast somebody else in that role, but the producers, the executives loved his screen test so much that they decided they want to write something in for him to make him a regular character too. So that's how that came about.
Well, I want to thank you so much from my heart just to meet with you. And actually, it's kind of like healing heart. After 19 years, I lost the pictures back in the days, and I was like, and you never know, especially radio and media open the doors of opportunity, and actually Tan Talk Radio. And we are on a real station. There's a 300-foot tower out there. So,
yeah, I'm sure. Well, this is a nice little remote setting for us, right? Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time out, and I hope your wife likes my little gift that I always, give out. It's a little treasure from Clearwater Beach, from my heart to hers as well.
Well, that's very sweet of you. She already told me in advance to thank you, and I'm sure she will like it. And thanks for having me on, and again, thanks for introducing me to people like Creed, who's great, and
there's more. People are writing me. And then if they want to book you around the world, of course, and different places in Vegas, and I know Gene Anderson was talking to you about some things as well. He was with the Funkadelics. Where they just go to your website?
Yeah, I have to update that a little bit. The best thing probably to do is to contact, for music, my agent is management. They're called Casting New Lives. Okay. And you can find them on the web. They're based in the Dallas area. Casting New Lives is the name of the management company for the music. And for the acting side of things, they can go to my manager who handles me for that. Well, actually, I would say to my agent, oh God, I have so many different ones for different things. Oh, they could approach Open Entertainment is the name of the management company in Hollywood. Open Entertainment.
Okay, and I want to thank my husband for holding the camera. I know he's like the Statue of Liberty right now. He's like, where's your selfie stick? I am Dawn Reese, and actually, I want to thank Henry Winkler for the quick interview as well at the Comic-Con event, and it was really awesome to give my little testimony when I met them back in the days as well. And he said he would be on the show. Henry, you have to see this and be on the show and call in.
I'll tell Henry.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. And Potsy, I want to find out what you're doing too. Maybe you could do a little hello call in the next couple months here on Tan Talk Radio. Anson's
a great friend. We talk all the time, so I'll pass it on to Anson.
She's a real person, got a real radio station. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Dawn Reese, and we'll be back after we enjoy this beautiful day. Bye-bye.